Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kirk McDowell. I'm a professional coach, and my company is called The Challenge Call. And I work with professionals, and I work with people personally. And I've been a coach. Sorry for my lack of articulation here. I've been a coach for about 20 years. Worked with tens of thousands of people, both in a public speaking format, one-on-one, and in groups. It's a real passion of mine. I love making a difference for people. I can see my lighting is giving me some trouble here. There we go. I think that's going to be a little bit better. So I want to talk to you today about kindness. Hi, Lynn. Thanks for joining. Hi, Joanne. Oh, Joanne Black. How you doing? Yeah, I know you. So anyway, kindness. So I want to talk about brain science and a pragmatic argument for kindness. So firstly, let's just talk about what I mean by kindness for a minute. So lots of times when I mention kindness or being a contribution or something like that, forgiving, that kind of thing, sometimes people can hear something else like letting people walk over you or agreeing with something that's unacceptable or something like that. And that's absolutely not what I'm talking about. So in this case, when I say kindness, I mean one's approach to a search situation, like where you're coming from, like in a disagreement, you may consider that maybe the person really has a great point, or given their experience and background, maybe I should listen again and hear it one more time, or just something like that, word choices, tonality choices, that kind of thing. You know when you're being kind and you know when you're not. And by, again, kind is I would consider it like a way of being or a state of mind or an approach or a come from, a place to come from. It's not a strategy or a tactic, and it doesn't indicate one strategy or a tactic over anything else. It's just a place to come from when choosing how to address something or someone, or a situation. So I said I was going to tie this into brain science, so let me take a shot of that. All right, so this is real simple, down and dirty, and actionable iteration of brain science. Okay, so it's not meant to be 100% accurate, although it's accurate. It's fundamentally accurate, and I think provides real value, and real value in a day-to-day, moment by moment, in the things that are really important for you and in the relationships that are really important for you. So I'm going to break down brain science in just a couple of minutes with that in mind. Okay, so it's not high level and it's not scientific and it's not, overly detailed in the way I'm going to create it, but I recommend you listen for like what's important to you, like whatever you're up to in your life, something wonderful, the next adventure, you've got a big circumstance, either way, highly valuable. So brain science, and then I'm going to tie it back into kindness, okay? So brain science, real quick and dirty. Consider that your brain is divided up into three sections, like the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, and the Homo sapien brain, okay? So start from the top. The Homo sapien brain is the last one to be developed, through time and evolution. And it's, cognitive thinking, strategy, higher level function, the sort of the stuff that you probably think differentiates you from, another type of species, another animal. So that's the first brain. The second brain is the mammalian brain, and essentially for this purpose, it deals with processing emotion. So top brain dealing with cognitive, higher level thinking and cognitive thinking. I just said that twice. I heard that. Strategy and tactics and so forth. And then, hey Matt, and then the lower mid-level brain, mammalian brain, has to do with processing emotions. So the primary, the one down at the bottom, the one that's been around since the eons of time, is the reptilian brain, casually said, and its job is to keep you alive. So let me say a little bit more about that. So imagine it's 30,000 years ago, and you're out somewhere, and there's a big black bear just 30 feet from you, heading in your direction, right? The reptilian brain is designed to stop you from processing your feelings and stop you from thinking and stop you from pausing in any manner whatsoever and is designed to get you in action and moving to save your life, right? Like a predator is bearing down on you now, right? So the design of it is you're not going to stop and process your feelings and think about, the greater truth of bears and survival and whatnot. Like you're going to get into action, fight, flight, freeze. A new one might be for you is appease. Fight, flight, freeze, or appease, right? And so the reptilian brain is designed to get you to do one of those now. All right, good. So now the problem is in our society today, we rarely have situations where your very life is dependent on your immediate response to something. That doesn't, it comes up when a bus is bearing down on you and you need to hurry up and get across the street. But, for most people, most of the time, that's not what's going on, right? But the way the brain works is whenever there's a threat, now this part's critical, real or imagined, never apply logic and common sense to human beings. It's just not going to get you very far, okay? So if a human being experiences a threat, real or imagined, now the imagined part is really important because it could be a word, a tone, a song, a smell, a taste, something on TV, something on the radio, like anything could cause the experience of threat with a human being. I recommend don't deal with should they be experiencing a threat. I recommend don't deal with that. And I recommend you deal with it in this particular way, right? So threat. Okay, so this phenomena, this phenomena called, we're going to call this phenomena hijacked, which is the, threat is perceived, real or imagined. Reptilian brain goes into gear, closes down the mammalian and Homo sapien brain, and is ready for immediate reaction, right? Now, unfortunately, what happens in the real world, like today, is that most people have their most important conversations in life when they're hijacked, right? Asking for a raise, argument with the spouse, some big thing with our kids or parents or whatever. And we're in a conversation, we're in a situation, we experience hijack, and then we start the conversation. And if you look, I bet that's more the norm for most of you than, making sure you're always in a great space when you're having the most important conversations in life, okay? But whether you practice that or not, that's just a sideshow on this, all right? So here we go. So we're moving forward. So brain science, right? People get hijacked when they experience threat. That's real or imagined. The design of which is to not have you process your feelings and not have you think things through, but to react forcefully, boldly, and immediately, right? So you can see that's useful if you're being attacked and not so useful if you're trying to work out a high-level situation in your company or with your family, right? Not quite so good for that. Okay, great. So now, kindness. So here's my pragmatic, scientific, empirical 1 + 1 = 2, can't get around it argument for kindness. I hope you're ready. So here it is. So imagine for a moment, let's just say for a moment that what I've said about the brain science and hijacking is absolutely true, happening all the time. And I don't know if I said this, but it's also my experience and sort of position on this that most people are hijacked most of the time to some degree or other, right? So last night I was trying to go to sleep and I was worried about a business thing and a financial thing that's in my future, right? And I could experience myself getting hijacked. And I, wanted to fire all my friends and change my life and move to Mexico and blah, 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 for a couple of minutes. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Hey, Mr. Coach, remember that brain science thing and being hijacked? I was like, yeah, I do remember that. And then I went to work at sort of untangling and restoring my cognitive function, restoring my ability to process feelings. There's a little bit of a process for that. I'm not going to go into that on this video, but I'd love to have questions. I'd love to. I'll follow up with that. I'll get that in a second. But right now, case for kindness, right? So imagine everyone. So just let's pretend everything I'm saying right now, I'm on the money and I know what I'm talking about. Let's just pretend that for a minute, right? Okay, so from there, imagine everyone in your life, including the people that are most important to you, professionally, personally, family, all of it. So everyone in your life is hijacked somewhat or a lot most of the time. So just think about that. People in your life, to some degree to another, are almost always hijacked. We could debate the percentage, 50%, 70%, 90%. We don't need to deal with that for right now. Just take on the pattern of it for a minute. Most of the people in your life, including yourself, by the way, most of the people in your life, including yourself, are hijacked a lot or a little, or somewhere in between, most of the time. So if that's true, right, then you and the people in your life are out in the world dealing with things that are important to you. Hey, Celia, out in the world. So you and people in your life are out in the world dealing with things that are important to you in some state of hijack, right? Some state of difficulty and diminished capacity to process your feelings, difficulty or diminished capacity to think, right? To distinguish, to separate your conclusions and concerns about the future from what's really happening now in reality. That can be dicey business for human beings, and all that capacity is diminished greatly when you're hijacked. And I don't know what the direct correlate is, but if you're a little hijacked, obviously it's going to impact you a little bit, and if you're a lot hijacked, it's going to impact you a lot. But I want you to get the real 1 + 1 = 2 of it, right? People are out in the world experiencing threat, real or imagined. They have a physiological response that is not terribly controllable, right? In which people have difficulty processing feelings and thinking and are in a highly reactive state. That is the design of it, right? And people are in the world, in life, handling all these things that are really important in that state, including you. So that's my hypothesis, right? So, if you take that just for a moment, just try it on for a minute. It doesn't have to be true, just try it on for a minute. Then, here's my case for kindness, right? The big antidote to hijack is human connection, right? Skin, physical skin touch is probably best, but, kind words, kind actions, kindness, right? One of the things that happens when you're hijacked is a hormone called cortisol comes online, and it beats back the good hormones and the I love my life and I love people hormones, which I'll remember the name of in just a minute, and gets you in this state of hijack, right? Ready to react fiercely and boldly to the slightest little threat. And then the antidote is kindness, human connection, and if you keep your eye on that, you can make sure you have human connection and kindness and love and joy in your life personally. Like you take it on like it matters. It matters if you're happy. It matters if you feel satisfied. It matters if you feel taken care of. It matters that your life is something you're proud of. It matters that you're up to something that you are joyful about and are proud of. And so, and it matters for everyone, right? And so, so my case for kindness is this, right? You have to start with yourself. Look for opportunities to be kind to yourself. Look for opportunities to be compassionate with yourself. Frankly, look for opportunities to love yourself and experience that love, right? And then with others, look for opportunities to be kind with people. Look for opportunities to connect with people. Notice the people around you are hijacked. A little bit or a medium amount or a lot, right? Just notice, right? And then notice that a kind word, an acknowledgement, an affirmation, a kind gesture, if appropriate, a hug or a touch on the shoulder or, whatever, right? Just, if you notice that you and people in your life are suffering as a result of this physiological response that's, innate in human beings, and, we're going to call it being hijacked. To some extent, most of the time, that's a lot of suffering out in the world, right? And that's a lot of people, including you, by the way, and that's a lot of people who are trying to resolve, grow, deal with, create the most important things in their life in some state of hijack, right? And so what I recommend is get interested in, are you and the people around you peaceful, right? Because when you're peaceful, you have the opportunity to operate at your highest state, emotionally and mentally, right? And so it's just my opinion that being peaceful and operating at my highest state is better than being afraid and anxious and operating at my lowest state. I'm just saying, the first one's better, right? And if I hey Randy, if I take that on, like that really is better and important to me, then all of a sudden kindness becomes interesting. Kindness and compassion for myself, and kindness and compassion for others all of a sudden becomes interesting as a pragmatic tool to have life work, right? So I'm not really talking about kindness for a noble reason or a moral reason or a spiritual reason or a religious reason or anything like that. I'm not really talking about any of that. I'm actually kind of being selfish in a sense, right? Selfish, like honoring myself. A little twist for you on selfish, right? Honoring myself, my highest self, right? In my case, which is contribution. My highest self really is who I am as contribution, right? So kindness for me is like just a simple tool in my tool chest toolbox to have life work for me and the people around me, right? As I am kind with myself, I have more capacity to give to myself and others, right? And as I'm kind to others, it's all kind of benefits. First of all, it works for me selfishly. Like selfishly, it really works for me. I like myself better and enjoy my own company when I have the experience of myself being kind and generous in the world. And so people love it. Just reflect for a moment and think about times when people have been kind for you and what that was like. And in most cases, just how little it took for the other person. A kind word, a gesture, a smile, a pause, a choice not to say a thing rather than to say a thing, right? You know what I'm talking about. So as you're kind to people, you benefit from it. Other people benefit from it. Everybody gets literally smarter and more able to process their feelings, brain science. Like literally, people materially improve their ability to perform, including you, by the way, right? That's the selfish part. And what I also notice is over time, people relate to me in a way that I really enjoy. Like I enjoy the me that people are relating to. Like I used to be more of a tough guy and just kind of waiting for somebody to come mess with me or say the thing. And, I was just a tough guy. And, quite frankly, it was a dark existence, anger, fear, anxiety, getting worked up, all that kind of stuff. And what I notice about a commitment to being a contribution or being kind as an integrity issue, like that's, literally who I am and I keep holding myself true to it, then what I notice is I benefit from being kind. Even when somebody doesn't deserve it, someone's being this way or that way, I've had some recent opportunities to be in front of somebody who was like, accusing me of all sorts of stuff that wasn't true and, raising voice and, behavior in words that some might consider like emotionally abusive or whatever. And what I noticed was the tough guy in me just wanted to reach out and handle business the way we did back in the day. I'm being metaphoric. But that's not me anymore, and that's not really on the menu, and that's not how I operate. And so I chose to just come at it with kindness. And, I was responsible for taking care of myself and standing for myself where I thought it was important, but my overall come from was kindness, and just hearing what there was to hear and relating to this person is kind of like somebody stuck in their pain and suffering, and I'm just kind of trying to jailbreak them as much as I can, as close as I can get to them, which in this case wasn't terribly close because I made a choice to kind of exit myself for my own well-being. But even now, I take a kind, contributory approach to the relationship, such as it is, because that's what works for me. And I have a commitment that it will make a difference for this other person at some point, but it will or it won't, you know. And but I'm keeping my side of the street clean, right? So in this world of being kindness, it makes no difference how anyone else is being, what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're saying it, at what volume they're saying it, you know, the specific attacks on your character or whatever, right? Don't necessarily have anything to do whatsoever with your response. I'm letting that sink in, right? How someone else is being, saying, or doing literally doesn't have to have anything to do with what you do or say, or how you're being, or your state of mind, or how you present yourself, or how you choose to communicate and articulate, and so forth and so on, right? That is always your choice. And I recommend pick it up like a banner, like an honor. Like, I am who I am, regardless of what's going on around me, and I take pride in that. Am I effective at that? Always? No, right? But mostly, and increasingly, and you know, it's wonderful for me. Like, I actually, you know, can acknowledge myself and have some pride and compassion and acknowledgement for how I've responded to some fairly adverse, you know, duress kind of situations. So I want to say, and the point of that is it works for me. Like, I could be angry and bitter, or I could be kind and loving. And whether anybody deserves anything or not is not at all what I'm addressing. What I'm pointing out to is it makes a material difference for me, like big time material difference for me, right? I'm going to say one more point. And I want to, so this is another argument. So interesting that I'm using the word argument here. Anyway, this is another argument in my case for kindness, right? My pragmatic, no woo-woo case for kindness. Here's the last piece, right? It's attractive. Kindness is attractive. It's attractive. Kindness attracts people. People notice when you're kind. People immediately have a warm experience of you when you're kind, right? And I want to address the pragmatism of that, the utilitarian, the usefulness of it, for those who are interested. It has its other wonderful benefits that I've been discussing, but here's another piece, right? Being attractive, and I don't mean attractive like better looking, although it could be that too, right? But I mean people are interested in who you are and what you're up to when you're being kind. So if you're in the world, if you interact with other people, if you have a career where you interact with people, if you have a home life where you interact with people, if there's people in your life that love you, or if there's people in your life whom you love, right, then this pertains to you, right? Coming at life and coming at people from a kindness trajectory, right, is noticed, and people love it. People love it. And the people in your life, business, family, personal, all of it, right, as people notice, they will be interested and drawn to you, right? So if you're in business, like if you're a business owner or something, I hope your radar is up. Like it's an access to be someone people want to do business with. If you're single and you prefer not to be single, it's an access to be someone that people would like to be in a relationship with, right? If you're in a family, it's an opportunity to be someone that people want to spend time with and want to share with and want to, like, you know, be open and connected with, right? If you have friends, it's an opportunity to be someone that your friends really respect and want to participate with and want to be around more, you know? It's just an opportunity. It's not the right thing. It's not the truth. It's not a good idea necessarily. But it is the things that I'm saying. It is the things that I've been saying. opportunity to, kindness is an opportunity to care for yourself. It's an opportunity to care for the people around you. There's material and scientific and emotional benefits all up and down the street, just everywhere. And it literally costs nothing other than kind of reorienting your relationship to kindness and being willing to press through an initial discomfort or clunkiness about how to be kind effectively, how to be kind and have people receive it as what it is, kindness, and not something else, you know. So a little bit of practice, a little bit kind of leaning into some clunkiness will get you just worlds and worlds and worlds of benefits. Okay, awesome. So, hey, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to have your comments. Disagree, agree, that's fine. But I'd be more interested in, like, what do you hear is possible? How could you apply this? If you leave me questions, I'll reply. I go back to my videos and just see if I have any questions. I reply to them. I'd love to have this make a difference for you. Like, this would be a win for me, right? You spend a little time with me in this format, and the world looks a little bit different to you after today. Like, that would be the highest thing. And it looks different to you in a way that you have access to something that would be really beautiful and joyful. Like, you know, being known, anyway, all the things that we said, right? Like, just having real power to connect with people, having real power to alleviate suffering, the anxious and the worry of being hijacked, having real power with yourself to alleviate your own suffering, having an opportunity to create extraordinary relationships in really any context with anybody, right? And it's not weird, and it's not weak, and it's not woo-woo. It's just common sense if you choose to look at it that way, and I recommend you do. All right, so if you liked what you saw, please like it. I'm really interested in making the biggest difference I can in the world. Please share me, like me, send me off into the universe. Would love to get as much exposure as possible. I provide something called the Challenge Call, which is a 30-minute conversation by phone or Zoom in which I promise a new future. I promise that you will be unstuck about something that's important to you. I promise you'll have a pathway forward that you didn't have before the beginning of the call. It's my gift to you. There's no charge for it. It's my gift. It is also the way I share myself and my work with the world. And so, you know, if you're thinking that you would like to hire a coach, I think I'd be an awesome choice in most cases. If you would like to share me with your friends, that would be delightful. And I promise that the Challenge Call is just all value, all gravy, all goodness, and really powerful, really powerful. So I'd love you to like this. I'd love you to come check me out. My website is kirkmcdowell.com. You can put yourself right on my schedule if you'd like to, right on my calendar. Thanks for being with me. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. And if you'd like me to speak on a certain topic, lay it on me. I've got some topics that I have listed here, but I'd love to really get right into what you're interested in, what's valuable to you. All right, Kirk McDowell, the Challenge Call. Thanks so much. It's been super awesome. I'm really glad I took the time to do this today. Talk to you real soon. Take care.